what happens when you get into debt.
That's your name? It's not my name.
And you can't or won't pay it back.
I'm going to seize the car in front of the drive, the Ford.
In this series, we meet the people who are losing their homes.
Get out! Get out!
No, don't raise your voice.
We never receive any notice.
Their cars.
If I give you the keys,
Yes?
how do I know I'm going to get the car back?
And their possessions. We meet the people who are owed money.
Welcome to hell.
And the people whose job it is to collect it.
If you don't open the door, we'll smash the glass.
Because when you can't pay...
Don't speak to me like that, I'll take your head off.
They'll take it away.
There's, like, different forms of scum in life, but you're just a higher class one.
Take him out.
The number of calls to helplines from tenants struggling with rent arrears increased by 13% in the last 12 months, more than any other debt type. Many fear they won't be able to keep a roof over their heads, according to a new report.
Paul Bohill and Steve Pinner are High Court enforcement officers. Commonly known as sheriffs, they spend their time chasing debts from those who can't pay.
It's supposed to be invited in, not breaking.
We have a warrant that allows us to break in.
And those who won't pay.
If you'd have done as we'd asked, this would have all been totally unnecessary.
Working under the authority of the High Court, they are the officers people turn to when all other avenues have failed. They have the power to seize your possessions to cover your debts and evict you from your home if you've fallen behind with your payments.
Won't be a problem. Most of the people that we meet are in denial. Denial on two fronts. One is that the debt exists, and the second and critical point is that they don't think it will have gone this far.
Paul and Steve are on their way to West London. Their work means meeting people in crisis and facing emotionally challenging cases as they enforce the law. Today's job is one of them.
Do you want a sweetie?
Sorry?
You can have a sweetie.
I can have a sweetie. I'm having a chewy at the moment.
Oh, right. You're so ungrateful.
They have a High Court order to evict a couple who have become sitting tenants.
How far is it? Are we there yet?
No, we're not there yet.
The tenant's lease has run out. They haven't paid their rent in 5 months, and they've ignored all letters and court orders telling them to leave. The two-bedroom flat is in a nice area in Chiswick. The owner's son is waiting for them outside the property. He wants to witness the eviction.
If the landlord is there, you're a target. It makes it contentious.
That's fine.
We're actually once removed from that,
Yep.
so they can batter on about you to us.
Okay.
And it goes over there.
Yeah,
so,
no worries.
But that's only for the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
The landlords are a retired couple who rely on the rental income. They are owed over £10,000.
The flat is actually held by my parents, who are retired, and sadly that's meant that all their pension for the last 4 or 5 months has gone on paying the mortgage on this flat. They've worked all their life, so the last few months they haven't had the money to spend on living that they would have had otherwise. So it's been very bad news in that respect. The block down that end, while the tenants effectively stayed there rent-free and, to my mind, squatted.
The owner's son has also been told that the property is now not in a good condition. There have been complaints about bad smells from the neighbours. Paul and Steve's powers mean they can force their way in and make the tenants homeless immediately.
Hello? We have a writ here to repossess the property. We'd rather you open the door and save the damage of us breaking in.
How long has this been going on?
Since June.
Okay. Was he there?
There's no answer. Nobody. Would you like to open the door, please? Obviously not. That one's locked.
The warrants that we carry are quite powerful. So in other words, if people want to talk through the letterbox, we allow that to happen until we get bored, and then we'll just break the door down.
We'll do our best. We've come to repossess the property, sir. Would you like to open the door so we can talk about it?
Can you talk this through the door?
Please read it fully.
People become face to face with a debt situation when a High Court enforcement officer knocks on the door. Until that time, they can just dismiss it. They can shred the letters, ignore the telephone calls, or pretend that it doesn't exist.
Well, the best thing for you to do is, if you open the door, we can actually talk to you instead of trying to do this through the door, and we can work our way around the system. If you feel that it's not correct and you'd like to call the police, feel free to do so. Either way, sir, we can enter the property with or without your permission, but we'd rather do it with your permission. Will you open the door, sir? Thank you very much. You understand the position of the writ?
Not really.
Huh?
Not really, no.
Right, what happens is, what it says that, you know, owing to the landlord has taken you to court, it's now gone through the High Courts, and now, today, we've come to issue this and repossess the property.
Well, we've nowhere to go.
But this has been going on for some time. I mean, this isn't the first you've heard of it today, is it?
No, we've been trying to find somewhere.
But won't the council rehouse you?
They're trying to do it. They're trying to serve it, but they said we're not high priority.
Well, you are
now.
today.
Yeah.
Today you are a high priority because you're now homeless.
You've got a total caring of the community issue here. You know, there's notices on all the doors saying, please close the door quietly, keep this door locked at all times, switch off, do this, do that. And the bloke is obviously not 100%. So we've suggested that he ring the council to get the system rolling, and then we'll deal with it.
The tenant's vulnerable condition is a real surprise to everyone. Paul and Steve now face a dilemma. They are worried about the tenants, who currently have nowhere to go. But they also have to carry out the eviction as commanded by the court order. They have to make a decision.
Across the UK, official figures reveal that there were 300,000 mortgages in arrears and almost 34,000 homes repossessed in 2012. This marks a 60% increase since 2006.
Today, Paul and Steve are in Chiswick, West London, on an emotionally challenging case.
Hello?
They have a writ to evict a couple who owe £10,000 in rent. Their lease has run out. They haven't paid their rent in 5 months.
We've come to repossess the property, sir.
And they have ignored all letters and court orders telling them to leave.
Will you open the door, sir?
But they are clearly vulnerable.
Thank you very much.
You've got a total caring of the community issue here. So we've suggested that he ring the council to get the system rolling, and then we'll deal with it.
Paul and Steve are legally compelled to carry out the writ.
You can't stay in the flat anymore from tonight.
I understand.
Okay.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
do we go?
Well, that's why we're trying to get you to get in touch with the council to give you at least temporary accommodation.
Well, how can we get our things together to get up? You know, can we?
Okay.
Will we have time? I'm asthmatic. My husband's disabled.
Yes, I understand.
Is there anything we can do?
Unfortunately.
Well, where do we go?
Well, just listen to me a second.
Sorry,
well, no, it's okay. No, just relax. What we can do is you get enough stuff together for 2 or 3 days.
And where would they put us, do you think?
No disrespect.
No.
I don't know.
With the tenants about to be homeless, Paul asked the landlord and his solicitor to ring the local council as quickly as possible.
We'll allow them to take enough kit with them today for 48 hours, or, you know, whatever, so that the council can sort them out, or not, as the case may be, and then we'll arrange collectively, you come back, let them back in, to actually arrange for the removal of the goods. If they try to break back in there, it's a criminal offence and they can be arrested. In my view, it's a council responsibility. If they're in need of care, and they, from our opinion so far, they obviously are, these people should be prioritised. But it won't kick up on the priority list until the bailiff's there and evicting them.
While the tenants face an uncertain future, the owner's son is more worried about the state of his parents' flat.
You know, it's you've seen the state of it as it is in there.
It smells of fish.
Have you been in the lounge yet?
No.
Don't.
Almost 2 hours later, the council has found them temporary accommodation. But the tenants are still in the flat. The owner's son and his solicitor are beginning to lose patience.
Steve, they're taking the piss now.
We'd like to wrap it up. I mean, we're giving them over a
2
lot
hours.
longer there. You know, fair's fair, because we want the families to go to as well.
Well done, Sean, thank you.
I've been told now that I have to draw this to an end because everything's taken so long.
Very well.
Fair.
No, we've given them ages. It's 6 o'clock now.
You need to get your stuff together, ready to come out the door.
Yes, we can't really hang about outside in the cold, you see.
Oh, you can always go and sit at McDonald's, it's quite warm.
They're making no attempt now.
You've been very helpful.
What you need to do is you need to get your suitcase, or where are they going to take your clothes in?
We haven't got suitcases. We can't find suitcases. We never had time to get them out.
There are no suitcases. They didn't have time to pack suitcases.
Is that everything? Have we got everything?
Yep, that's everything now. Okay, that's us done.
Right, okay.
Thanks very much.
I'm sorry for the delay and the amount of time it took.
Right, how are we doing?
The tenants have a roof over their heads tonight, but their home is gone. The owner's son is eager to see what's happened to his parents' flat.
Until I go in, because I haven't been in there for months, I really don't know what I'm going to be faced with. This flat, when they took it on, was pristine. Great, so this is what we're left with. Well, just give up, don't you? What hell it is now.
It was really clear that the people had a huge problem. They were just like, you know, absolute hoarders, and the flat was 5 feet deep in waste paper, rubbish and collected items.
It's a brand new sofa somewhere under that lot. And the rent arrears is probably around about 10 grand. Then you've got legal fees, so that's probably about another 3,500. And then sadly, because they have left the place in such a bad state, adds up to over double the arrears. So there's another 20-odd thousand pounds. Oh. I think this is what estate agents would describe as in need of tender, loving care.
And in the bedroom, which was the most shocking of all, there were 2 beds, but there were cardboard box constructions on the bed, and for whatever reason, they actually slept inside the cardboard boxes. So it was really sad.
Well, at least we got it back.
If the last job was challenging, their next job is going to be no easier, but for very different reasons. Today, Paul and Steve are on their way to Romford for a debt of over £3,000. Their High Court powers mean that if the debtor can't pay, they have the authority to seize any possessions and sell them to cover the debt.
You can run point on this one, Steve.
The man named on the writ works as a taxi driver.
Hi there. Looking for Mr. Alizadar.
If he can't pay the £3,000, they could take his car away.
Hi there. Sorry to wake you up. Mr. Alizadar.
Yeah.
Has taken you to court. Yeah.
What for?
I have no idea what for. I don't get that information. All I know is that there is a warrant outstanding and the amount is £3,253 and 4p, plus a 440...
It's not me. They made a mistake. It's not me. They sent to the court also. That's not me. That's a different person.
Who is it?
If he's my brother, no, I'm not responsible for my brother. You should go and get them, not me.
You're sheriff.
I'm a sheriff, yeah. I'm a sheriff, Alizadar.
Well,
if you need an ID, I'll bring an ID for you.
OK, but look, you see...
Mr. Alizadar claims that the debt is his brother's, but the writ is made out in his name.
I didn't pay that rent for that house, which is... He wasn't me, he's a different person. If he's my brother...
So where is Mr. whoever it is?
Ask them, not me.
He's your brother?
Yeah, he's my brother.
So you must know where he is.
Yeah, I know. You should find him and go and tell them. Why isn't...
Well, OK, can I just be very simple about this? Just really, really simple. Is this your vehicle?
Yeah, he is.
OK. This is from the courts.
Yeah.
The highest court in the land that empowers me to take your car, unless you can pay this debt.
Paul and Steve have no idea whether he is telling the truth or not. A High Court writ is rarely wrong.
The way to get to the truth is just to keep talking. And all the time you're talking, you're asking the same questions in different ways, but you're looking for an inconsistency in the answer. So it's straightforward interrogation.
I spoke with him. He was my landlord. I was living in this address as well. Before that guy, I was living on that address. And that's why he knows my address. He sent it to me. I showed him why you take it, put it my name to the court.
Where is your brother?
My brother. It's my brother. He's in this country. Go and get him.
Well, we don't need to, because we're going to take the car
That's
away.
fine. You can take it in my car.
OK, can you give the keys?
Huh?
Give us the keys.
I'm not going to give the key. Why should I give the key?
Can you get your brother on the phone, then?
I'm not going to put him on the phone.
Well, that's OK. We'll just take the car. I'll call a recovery truck.
Call him the carriage.
Look, listen, there's an easy way of doing it or there's a hard way.
No, it's not the hard way. I'm not responsible
Unless you
for
prove
that.
to us that this is not you. Have you got the logbook for that vehicle out there?
Yeah, of course I've got a logbook.
But before Paul calls the tow truck, he rings his office to check out the man's story and whether the writ is correct. And the truth is surprising.
Bye.
They have the wrong man.
Right, he's obviously covering for his brother. His brother is a completely different person. None of this paperwork applies to...
He explained to us that it wasn't him and it was his brother. But if your name is on that writ, you are then liable for what it says.
All the taxi licences, all of that paperwork shows that this warrant, the name on this warrant, is against this man. But in the meantime, since we've actually come and knocked on the door, we've had an email that says the name on the warrant is wrong.
It's now up to Mr. Alizadar, not the court, to prove his innocence. He's currently legally liable for the debt. But Paul and Steve have a plan to soften the blow.
I'm going to seize that car outside, but leave it with you. I will write paperwork that shows that the sheriff's office now owns the taxi.
Yeah.
Yes? You then carry on using it while I sort the paperwork out. That if the mistake is not as you say it is, but you're a reasonable man, I can come back and take the taxi. Just so long as you understand that.
Yeah,
And if you don't produce it when I ask you to, it will be reported as stolen.
Mr. Alizadar now has 2 weeks to challenge the writ in court, or risk not just losing the vehicle, but also his livelihood. He has a family and 3 children to support.
There's obviously a mistake, potentially a mistake, But I'm happy with what I've done because I can still come back not smiling if it goes wrong. Yeah. Right, in the meantime, if you want to save all this aggravation, ring your brother and get him to call me.
A report has found that more than 8 million households now have no savings at all. And almost half of the lowest income households are spending more than 25% of their income on debt repayments.
Steve Wood is a Bristol bailiff with over 20 years' experience. His firm specialises in carrying out court orders and repossessions on commercial properties. A busy week can see as many as 50 writs executed.
I'd be inclined to say this is a fictitious name.
I've been assaulted, I've been knifed, things thrown at us, oil, petrol. We've had people swing at us with pickaxes. We have heard it all before, and I'm sure we'll hear it all again.
Good morning, Evelyn, Somerset Police. How may I help?
Hi, good morning. My name is Steve Wood. I'm a bailiff based here in Bristol. It's just for information purposes.
Today, Steve is repossessing a small convenience store, a classic corner shop. But the tenant owes over £5,000 in rent.
Yeah. OK, all right, no worries. Thanks very much for ringing.
Bye.
Thanks, bye-bye.
It's 6:30 in the morning, and Steve wants to get there early before the tenant opens up. The shop lies in the usually peaceful suburb of Clifton. Steve doesn't have the keys, but as long as the tenant is not inside the property, the court order gives them the right to break in. But getting in isn't straightforward. They've discovered there's a steel bar reinforcing the doors. While the locksmith cuts through the steel, the tenant arrives.
Are you with the shop, sir?
Yeah.
We're bailiffs. We're repossessing it on behalf of the landlord for non-paid rent.
How much?
Well, that's what you're going to have to discuss with the landlord.
Steve's first task is to get the keys and gain entry before the tenant crosses the threshold.
If you encounter anybody before you get in and that person's inside the premises, you cannot go forward. Whereas if you've got into the premises and you're over that threshold and then somebody turns up afterwards, then you're OK, you're in the premises. So have you got the keys that could let us in?
Yeah.
All right. Could I have the keys, please, sir?
How much?
Richard.
They're in.
I don't know. It's about 5,500 as far as I'm aware, maybe a bit more, but at the moment we're repossessing it for non-payment of rent. My colleagues repossessed it. All right, we're changing all the locks.
Yeah.
So
you take the stock out now?
No, stock is... You can take the stock out,
yeah.
But I'll give you my business card,
yeah.
And we can arrange for you to take the stock out. Well, you haven't paid your rent, have you?
Steve's writ only allows him to take possession of the property. He's not authorised to seize the stock inside or take payment.
So what can I do with the payment?
Well, you need to talk to the landlord. I would immediately phone the landlord and start to talk to him.
How much is the total?
Well, let me get the warrant. Come in and have a look. We'll have a look. Well, according to this, it's £5,802.46.
So if I pay this amount to whom?
To the landlord.
Then you have to open the...
I can't say yes or no. All I can say is ring the landlord or ring his agent, and if they agree, then we'll let you have the keys back once you've paid the rent arrears and our costs. We're changing the locks,
okay.
Front and back.
Okay.
If you try to gain entry after we've left, it will be a criminal offence. Okay. All right? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Despite being owed over £5,000, the landlord at least has his shop back. But once inside, Steve discovers the situation is even worse. The back of the shop has been converted into living accommodation.
None of this has been authorised. It's all put in illegally, and there's a sort of shower unit in here. It's just disgusting. It really is. We normally find that some of the property's been converted if it's upstairs and completely separate, but actually chopping the shop in half, and he hasn't even, it's just
amateurishly done. Chopping the shop in half and just putting a full stud wall in, and then turning it into living accommodation. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I mean, it's going to take thousands to put this right. It's horrible.
There was definitely 3, possibly 4 living there. It's sad, but it's not unheard of, and it shouldn't happen in today's age, but it does.
While Steve doesn't know who is living there, the conditions are a real concern.
Just a load of junk. There's a side entrance here, which has been padlocked up. And it's just a load of junk, really. Gee whiz, look at these electrics. How the hell this place hasn't gone up in smoke, God only knows.
It wasn't the cleanest of shops that we went into. The fridges were dirty. There wasn't that much stock on the walls, and some of the stuff that was there was out of date. There were rat droppings behind the counter. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing my shopping in there.
Looks like a bit of a mouldy sponge. I'm not sure what the hell that's. It's a pain, though. Back open at 12, back in 10, back in 3 minutes. So he's obviously.
Has he got one for not back at all?
The shop repairs will cost the landlord thousands of pounds, and the tenant's business has been ruined by the debt.
Do I feel any sympathy for him? Not really. I mean, it sounds a bit harsh, but if he offered to pay the rent this morning, then why hasn't he paid it in the past 2 or 3 months? Why has he messed the landlord around for that length of time? So I think he's brought it on himself.
Today, landlord Mark Talbot has arranged for the tenants to come back and clear their possessions from his retired parents' flat. The tenants had refused to leave and owed £10,000.
Unbelievable.
Although the tenants were vulnerable, Mark has discovered that they were fully aware of their debt and the notices to leave.
They even like to keep track of how much rent they're in arrears on their calendar. And when they got various letters from the lawyers. Oh, look, it's got the county court judgment there in August. Clearly they can't claim they didn't know what was going on. And I'll just try and open that window to get a bit more fresh air in, to let the stench out, if I can. Oh, dear, heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
Finally, the tenants arrive.
Well, we can start getting stuff downstairs, can't you? I mean, I don't mind helping. Yes, of course I will. I just want everything out, don't I? So I would politely suggest that we try and chuck as many clothes into black sacks a bit quick as possible, wouldn't you? And then at least by the time the man in the van comes, we'll have done something for him to put in the van, won't we? Everything in there rubbish, agreed?
Yeah.
You're going to sign to that effect, yeah?
With the tenants and their possessions gone, Mark inspects the flat.
This is brand new carpet, 2.5 years ago. This is because they let absolutely no air into the flat whatsoever during the time they were here. Newly decorated before they came in. On a positive note, it looks somewhat better than it did about 4 hours ago.
Mark and his parents can now start the process of getting the flat refurbished. Two weeks ago, High Court enforcement officers Paul Bowhill and Steve Pinner were in Romford to see taxi driver Mr. Ali Zadar.
That's not me, there's a different person.
He had to pay £3,000 or risk losing his car.
My paperwork allows me, under this name, to seize your vehicle.
But it was a case of mistaken identity. The writ should have been in his brother's name, and even though Mr. Alizadar is the innocent party, it was up to him to clear his name in court.
Ring your brother and get him to call me.
Now they are returning to Romford. The debt has risen by a further £700, and Mr. Alizadar hasn't been to court. So while Paul and Steve know he's the wrong man, the writ commands them to collect on the debt.
The bloke has not made an arrangement to pay yet, so we're going to go back and give him the bad news that we're expecting him to pay just £3,915 today. Want to lead on it?